Shondell Jackson, appearing at the Milwaukee County Courthouse for his sentencing after being found guilty of murdering a university student. Allegedly, the 18-year-old Jackson and his associate were prowling for victims when they spotted Potter leaving a tavern. Nathan Potter, the 21-year-old victim, was a college student at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. They trailed him, confronted him, and demanded cash. When Jackson discovered Potter had no money, he fatally shot him. Officials stated that Jackson fled to Mississippi the day following Potter's killing. His uncle reportedly informed law enforcement of his location, leading to his arrest. During his trial, Jackson was observed making gestures toward the victim's family, and as he was led out of the courtroom, he was seen grinning at them. Just before sentencing, Jackson's mother addressed the court, explaining how she first learned about the crime through a news broadcast.
When I saw it on the news, I even cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster. He is not a monster.
Apologize for my behaviors. Please don't take my life from me.
However, when the judge pronounced a life sentence without the possibility of parole, Jackson erupted in an outburst. As deputies restrained him, one of Jackson's relatives could be heard yelling at the victim's family. While Jackson faces life imprisonment without parole, his accomplice pleaded guilty to acting as a lookout and received a 12-year prison sentence. This is Jennifer Mee at the Pinellas County Justice Center. At 19 years old, she was taken into custody on charges of first-degree murder. However, this wasn't the first time Mee caught the public's attention. At age 15, she gained international notoriety due to an uncontrollable bout of hiccups. She was initially recognized as the Hiccup Girl, but after her condition was cured, media interest in her faded until her arrest. Mee was accused of orchestrating a robbery targeting individuals she met online. Reports indicate she enlisted Lamont Newton, her then boyfriend, and another acquaintance, Laren Rayford, to assist in the crime. Mee arranged to meet a 22-year-old man she encountered on the internet, luring him to an abandoned residence. There, her two associates ambushed, robbed, and fatally shot the victim, making off with only $50. Mee, Rayford, and Newton lived together and were apprehended within hours of the murder. Shortly after her arrest, Mee had a phone call with her mother, during which she admitted her involvement. The conversation was recorded.
This call may be recorded or monitored. I have a free call from an inmate at Pinellas County Jail.
I got charged for murder in the first degree.
Charged for murder in the first degree? Who did you kill?
I didn't do nothing. I was just there at the wrong time, at the wrong place. Hi, Mama.
Hello, Jeff. What's going on?
I'm in jail.
Why are you in jail?
From, murder in the first degree.
Who'd you kill?
I ain't killed nobody. Because I set everything up.
The jury of the defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree as charged.
The jury having found you guilty of murder in the first degree, Miss Mee, I will adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to life in prison without parole. You have 30 days to appeal.
Mee's co-defendants, Rayford and Newton, were also found guilty of first-degree felony murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. This is Dylan Shoemaker in a Buffalo courtroom, appearing for his sentencing after being convicted of second-degree murder. At age 16, Shoemaker was babysitting his girlfriend's toddler when she went to work. While inside the Springville home where he lived with his parents, Shoemaker brutally assaulted the 23-month-old child. The toddler succumbed to his injuries. Shoemaker was subsequently arrested and charged with both murder and child abuse. Reports suggest he was merely trying to stop the child from crying and never intended to cause harm or death, but the jury didn't believe his defense. As Shoemaker entered the courtroom, he immediately began sobbing, declaring his sorrow. While awaiting trial, Shoemaker made a phone call to his mother that was recorded. The judge referenced this conversation during sentencing.
In a phone call to your mother from the holding center, you stated, and I got a quote from the court reporter, "I am a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury, and they're going to feel sorry for me."
I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I would give my life for Austin.
Shoemaker was handed the maximum sentence.
That you be sentenced to an indeterminate term of imprisonment, which will have a maximum of life. The court hereby imposes a minimum sentence of 25 years.
This sentence was later reduced to 18 years to life. This is Brandon Spencer at the Los Angeles County Superior Court, facing sentencing for 4 counts of attempted murder.
Sorry for what happened, Your Honor, but keep you life in prison.
On Halloween night, 19-year-old Spencer attended a crowded gathering on the University of Southern California campus in Los Angeles. Suddenly, gunfire erupted, sending people into a frenzy. Some ran in panic, while others sought shelter. Spencer was also seen fleeing, but was detained half a mile away in a parking lot, where LAPD officers took him in for questioning. A few days later, he was formally charged with 4 counts of attempted murder. Prosecutors contended that the shooting stemmed from an ongoing dispute between Spencer and a rival gang member, alleging that Spencer was a documented gang affiliate.
I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes. But I'm not just some gangbanger that she tried to portray me as.
Spencer maintained his innocence, but the jury disagreed. Nearly 50 of his relatives and friends gathered in the courtroom as the judge announced the sentence. Deputies had to restrain Spencer as he slammed his head against the defense table.
Life in accordance with Penal Code Section 12022, 3D. This is to be concurrent with
Reports state that Brandon Spencer received a 40-year-to-life sentence for 4 counts of attempted murder.
This is Martise Fuller, standing trial in Kenosha County, Wisconsin, accused of murdering his ex-girlfriend and attempting to kill her mother. Allegedly, 15-year-old Fuller forced entry into his ex-girlfriend's residence, armed with a firearm. While she was in her bedroom, listening to music, he fatally shot her. Upon hearing the gunfire, the victim's mother rushed out of her room, encountering the assailant face to face. She was shot twice, but survived and later identified Fuller to the police. Despite pleading not guilty, the jury reached a swift verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
Upon being convicted on 3 counts, Fuller displayed visible emotion for the first time during the trial. At sentencing, Fuller continued to insist on his innocence. Before receiving his punishment, he had his attorney read a statement to the courtroom.
Mr. Fuller's prepared a statement that he asked that I read on his behalf. Wholeheartedly, I wanted to write this giving my sincerest apologies to this family I once shared time and love with. Truthfully, I am sorry about the pain you've all suffered through, but more importantly, the loss of my ex-girlfriend Kaylee, that I loved too. But I have to continue to stand innocent because I am. And I hope you all can eventually see in your hearts that I am not the person the media has made me out to be.
The judge then delivered the final ruling.
The court has no trust whatsoever that what brought you to this murder and attempted murder is repaired or repairable ever. Rehabilitation is not likely, in my mind. When the interest of protecting the public, acknowledging the seriousness of these acts, the court orders that on count 1, you are sentenced to life in prison without eligibility for extended supervision.
As Fuller received a life sentence, he appeared entirely unaffected.